me, but it is my favorite ghost story that a friend of mine told me. I have two friends. It happened to two friends, and both of them told me the same story. So I love it. God, now I feel like the light should come down, and I should have a candle. No, do not turn the lights off. I would know you're there. And that's quite enough. I'm kidding. Every time I blink, that body pillow gets a little closer. My friend was a friend I knew her in high school, but this happened to her way before we met. She was about, I guess, 10 or 11, and she lived on the outskirts of town. I grew up in kind of in the country in Texas. Not really the country, but kind of what you would consider the country if you grew up in a city. It's one of those little suburbs that's surrounded by trees, and cows, and things that make noises at night. And city people go, what is that? That's not a train or a car. That sounds alive. And she grew up in this town, this little suburb even further out from where I did, and she had her friend over one night. She lived with her mother in this nice kind of older house. I don't know that the house had any history of haunting or whatever, but basically this is a short version of the story. They were about 10 and 12, she and her friend, and they were sleeping over at her place. Her mom was in bed, and they, they're up, eating cookies or telling stories or whatever girls do, I don't know. And they thought they were being too loud because they thought they heard her mom, anything, or their mom never came to the room to say anything, so they got up to check out and see if she got up. So they went up, and the house was dark, and no one was in the kitchen, and put the body pillow down. and Dee, her mother, was, oh my God, they really are all over the place. Oh my God. And really, not a single Thor among you. Not a single Thor. Damn it. Okay, so, sorry. Back to the mood of the story. So the house is dark. No one is in the kitchen. They decide to creep into her mother's bedroom to see if she's indeed still asleep. And they go into the bedroom, they look, and of course the door is open, because I guess she sleeps with the door open. And she had this nice big bed. You have to picture, though, on one side there's this window. And in the window, there was sitting like an old Singer sewing machine, a very old antique, the kind you have to pump with like an iron at the bottom, and it's really, really fantastic. It's usually got really great, like, laminate paint and stuff on it. And the inlays and stuff, and they had it was part of the house, or it was part of the collection of antiques they had in the house. And standing at this thing, at this Singer sewing machine, was like a 4-foot-tall figure of what looked like a child. Only it wasn't like it was just the form. Like you couldn't make out any details of like clothing or anything like that. It was just this sort of glowing, luminous, 4-foot-tall, vaguely human form that, with its back to them and its arm raised, kind of over, and it was like feeling above it, as though it were trying to feel like almost like it was looking for a key on a door ledge or something. You know how that goes? But there was nothing there. It was just kind of doing this weird thing. And of course, these two young girls see this, and they're like, oh my God, what is that? And they're slowly freaking out as they realize that this should not be here. And apparently, it heard them and turned around and looked at them, and both of them described its face as being absolutely horrible, just like this shrunken, what? It did not have a gas mask. It might have been better if it had a gas mask, because she described it as being like the mouth and the eyes and the nose all sunken back. And she could still see pupils, and it just looked so deranged and sad at the same time. And its mouth was just carved into this deep, frown. And they screamed, of course, as you would when you see a glowing 4-foot childlike ghost thing staring at you with a death's head. And they ran for their lives. And strangely enough, it didn't wake up her mother, so they're sitting in their room just waiting for someone to come and rescue them. And after about an hour or so, they decide, okay, we need to go check on Mom again. So they very quietly open up their door, and the door was at the end of this long hallway. Stop me if you've heard this one. And they opened up the door very, very quietly, and just at the end of the hallway is the figure with its back turned to them again. And just as a shaft of light from the door hits it, it turns around immediately, and now its face is angry and almost demonic looking, and it begins bounding down the hallway towards them at full run. And they're like, ah! And of course, barricaded with everything they've got, like, the toy box touch the dresser, the mattress, and they just proceed to like hold each other and like rock back and forth screaming all night long. As you do when you're being assaulted by some supernatural thing. And that's it, like that's the story, like nothing happened after that. But imagine like just your heart leaping into your throat when you see this thing coming in the hallway. Yeah. That image will stay with me forever. So thank you. That's my